All right. So I like critters and dangers become a, it's always been a big deal for me, but more and more as time goes on, and now I'm obsessed with a show called Safari Lives. So I spend time watching a safari every day, asking questions of the people doing the guiding, and oh, yay for YouTube. So this poem's called Shapeshifter. I was tall, green-leaved, and branching, wide over the acacia, koya, and hibiscus, and I stepped out fully curved and spined veins running with sugar water. And I walked into the waves and along the ocean floor. Water was salty and monstrous, foamy and crashing to churn. I walked to the shallow end of the ocean and stepped out onto the sand, greeted by leopards hunting sea turtles, blood and salt drying out in the sand. I dried to breaking, and I broke apart, walking and breaking as my wood sloughed off. I embraced the leopard and stepped into its wood, and slept in the spotted plains. I woke and stepped out of the leopard wood, walked over hot sand, my body harder, and the jungle stepped, and into the jungle stepped over fallen trees that nursed generations, and bushes, shrubs, and millions of beetles and ants, invited them to run around on my trunk. The rain fell and worked the ants back to the soil, and I soaked through, found a game path, and walked while I dried out, crack and splinter, rubbed up against the trees to help peel off the flakes of wood and spotted and stringy. And underneath the surface of the old, new was already there. Snakewood, hard and won over the cracking and the slough. And I ran, wind in my leaves, like hot air blowing me further and up, into the mountains, and the cold, which didn't touch me, doesn't rush to under my bark skin. Like a set of Russian dolls, we are hiding under bark skin. I walk and flew along the ridges and spines and peaks, and squirrels and birds hitched rides. And when the snow fell, I slid over the surface and hosted cold flakes and ice on my limbs, which the sun melted. And I dried out, booming to crack that echoes in the canyons, and across the valleys I splintered in half. The sides fell open into a brana. I'm a brow, a bowl, a brawny and seasoned. Hot air again around me, filling my leaves. And I jumped off and flew hard enough to take it if I fall.
What?